Welcome everyone. Today we have the very special guest, Adam McInnes, who co-produced the song that you know by aespa, also released as a soundtrack for Hobbs and Shaw Fast and Furious, originally for the artist Aston Wild. Today we are going to talk about how aespa's Next Level came to be, break down its form, and then we'll move on to a few more broad musical subjects like talking about the industry, future music, how to write for specific fan groups, and more. So to start off, please introduce yourself. What is your musical background and where have people maybe heard your music before?
I can't say I have a musical background.
Okay.
I can say the way I look at music is as you would call vibrational information. So for me, I never really went to the traditional music school or anything like that. I just had a passion for music and loving the way it made people feel and react, and really because it's a connecting mechanism. I basically started off as a singer-songwriter, trying to learn guitar and piano and sing, and then over the years started getting in production and writing for other people, and then turned that into a career. And for the last 15 years, I've been a professional writer, producer, and then most recently, I'm an executive in also a company for helping to break artists. So I do a little bit of everything right now.
Wonderful. And you told me earlier in a conversation that we had that a lot of your music goes to video game soundtracks, movie soundtracks, and TV shows, right?
When I think about it, I've had over like 100 placements. So everything from BMW commercials to the video games you're playing to major soundtracks like Hobbs and Shaw, Fast and Furious, soundtracks like Leap, or TV shows like Lucifer, American Ninja Warrior. So there's a lot of things that I do for TV and film. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I focus a lot of my attention there is because as an independent artist and producer like myself, where I love to control my masters and have ownership and not just kind of sell it away to a major label, when I can work directly with TV shows and movies and commercials, it gives me the ability to create music that I love, help break artists and myself, because I'm also an artist with my co-producer. We have a band called Sons of Legion. We're able to put our music in front of these platforms and make a good living, but also be able to kind of use it as promotion instead of selling everything away. So I do a lot of things in the TV and film world.
Well, that kind of leads us straight into our next question, because a lot of people are curious about aespa's Next Level and how that remake came to be. So I would love to rewind the timeline to when you guys wrote Next Level and it was chosen for Hobbs and Shaw.
The short answer, because this is a long answer,
right.
Actually it was a long process. Everyone might see the song come out now, but it was a good year and change before when we started talking about doing it with them, and then the final version that you all see. But the very first version of the song started because we have basically like a group with it's myself and Mario Marchetti. Mario Marchetti is a phenomenal producer and songwriter, and so we work together on a lot of projects. And there's a woman named Sophie Curtis, who's an upcoming artist from Australia. And we were working together on songs. And Sophie was more of a singer, like a vocalist. So, we said, instead of us going down the route that you are already comfortable in, let's do something as a side project that we just have fun experimenting in. We created this project called Aston Wild. The project was just to have fun music that we were experimenting with, that we enjoyed making, and with no real pressure towards if it's like artistic fame or fortune or anything like that. And so when we started creating the project, we probably did about 15 to 18 songs maybe, and we probably finalized about 12. And then one of them was picked up for the Hobbs and Shaw movie, which was Next Level.
And then right after, you said in our past conversation that Next Level did very well in Asia, which then led you...
Yeah, it was actually really interesting, because when the song was on the Hobbs and Shaw, I was looking at the numbers of where it was connecting with the most, and it happened to be connecting a lot with Asia. And I'm assuming because of Fast and Furious's brand over there does really, really well. I remember talking to my business partner, Mario, and saying, what if we went overseas and toured with this? Like, what if we took this Aston Wild project and actually went there and started playing shows, just for fun? I remember, and this sounds wild, but I remember sitting down and kind of just like meditating on that idea of like, what would it be if we went over there? And within that week of doing that meditation, 2 people from Asia contacted us. One was a BMW commercial, and then one was SM Entertainment. Whoa. And Next Level got on 4 BMW commercials, the Aston Wild version. And then we started doing the talks with SM Entertainment about possibly doing a remake, which was really interesting because I've always wanted to work in the K-pop world, because I'm truly a fan of what K-pop is doing. So when we first got the initial conversation going, it was really just exploration of, what can possibly happen here. This is interesting. And then we heard the version that they started working on. I was like, okay, this is something unique because they are adding elements that we would have never thought of. And it's happening in such a way that it makes me viscerally react. Like I'm actually going, oh, that's, I'm doing that face like, oh, that's interesting right there. That's interesting there. And so, like I said, there were several versions before it came to the final one, but it's just really incredible to see it all come together over time. And, shout out to everyone over there because they did a great job. aespa did a great job. The whole team over there has been great. So it was just a really cool experience to see it all kind of come together.
Yeah, as SM started developing it for aespa, did you partake in any of the changes? Were you conversing with them and saying, oh, I like this here, let's do this?
Most of it was them showing us ideas that they were coming up with. And then we would say right back like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And what about that? But it wasn't in depth. It was very much like we'd get a version and we'd say, okay, that's cool. What's happening here? Kind of trying to understand it. But then, to be honest, they were just sending us really good versions. So we were just kind of going with it and going, okay, that's cool. Okay, that's cool. And there is a thing that happens when you've heard a song so many times, like we had heard Next Level so many times, that it was kind of good to get a completely fresh perspective of it from someone who wasn't in the creation initially. Because then they could add something that we would have never gone to.
As they were sending you the different versions, did they also explain what kind of video or group concepts that was going to back up?
We had no clue that video was going to look like that. It was really interesting to sit down and watch a video and go, okay, they did something that no one's done before. There's only a few moments in music history where it takes these little leaps like this. And when it takes that little leap, what tends to happen is other people start to copy it. And the fact that they thought about that and created it and it's being reacted to the way it is very, very interesting to be a part of and to also watch.
I would love to dive more deeply into that later. That's actually one of my last questions. From what I've seen with your past interviews and our past conversation is that you really pay attention to how humans react emotionally, how our brains react to music and the frequency and the hypnosis, right? Well, I'm curious when you saw the choreography for this video. Like, I'm sure you are very familiar with, movies and how visuals enhance a song you've written. But how do you think this, or choreography in general, or specifically Next Level's choreography, how does that change the way a fan may perceive the song?
Well, in a situation like this, I think fans become deeper rooted fans when there's a choreography of this level connected to it, because it's not just a verbal thing that you become hooked on, and that's not just a visual thing. Now it's a physiological thing, because I've seen a lot of people doing I can't do it, so trust me. Like when she does a level thing and they do the hand thing, I've seen a lot of people doing this on TikTok, and I get it because whenever the body and the mind have something to focus on that seems a little confusing, but seems challenging, but yet kind of like fun to figure out. It's almost like a puzzle. You'll try it. It's like the backpack kid who did that thing, Yeah. And then all of a sudden people are trying to do it. The only way that works is if it's simple enough, but yet hard enough. It has to have those two things. If it's too hard, no one's going to do it. But if it's just clever enough, which even doing that it's genius. To make something have depth but simplisticness is genius in itself. That is what geniusness is. When aespa did what they just did, they're going to now create an innovation that other people will copy with the whole thing. From the audio, from the visual, from the choreography, from the storyline. And when you stack those, it becomes really, really interesting to watch and be a part of.
Yeah. And so tying it back to the original reason why we are here today talking in this interview is because of my original bad analysis of the form. So just some background information. K-pop fans are used to each section of a K-pop song being very obvious for what it is. So the verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and second verse all have different progressions and different instrumental colors. So when Next Level was released and it used a lot of the repeated instrumental and threw in completely new material at unexpected times, my brain malfunctioned. So thank you so much for leaving a comment on our video and offering to correct our analysis. Let's spend some time and break down the Next Level form.
Don't worry, it wasn't that bad. It was actually just clever. It was fun for me to watch because once again, in your title, it said like musicians react to it. So I was like, oh, let me look at, especially trained musician. I'm not a trained musician. So I said, okay, let me see how a trained musician sees this, and that's why for me, I had a lot of fun watching because you're like, is this the middle eight? And what part is this? And part of music is there are rules that work, and then there's rules that you have to break. If you follow rules that everyone's going to expect, then the expectations are always going to be without extra value because it's ordinary. Sometimes breaking a rule makes something extraordinary. Yes, there's formulas, and yes, these are rules, and yes, you use them. But then if you know how to play with them and almost interact in a different way with them, you create different reactions. So interact, react. It's kind of in a similar way. So right when it comes in, it kind of previews or foreshadows the chorus by going, I'm on the next level. Yeah, bump, 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 bump. You know, it kind of goes into that verse. So that's the first part. Then when we hit the ooh wee, that's the pre-chorus. Dun, 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 dun,
Okay.
dun, 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 too hot, too hot. Ooh. So the division of the sections are made with that ooh. That hook, because in order to change from the verse, we had to do something that would take the ear to another place, and that's why we took it to that ooh and the high frequency and that almost part that like you can't get out of your head once you hear it. And then it goes to the chorus. I'm on the next level. Then that's the chorus. That whole section after that. Okay. So basically, it goes verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and then it goes la 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 da 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 da. Right, that little walk down. So that walk down is just a reintro. Okay. That's all it is. It's just a break for the ear to have something it hasn't heard before that might not be repeated again, but it's something that once you hear it, you feel childlike, and you feel like almost like where this exactly what creates spark is usually contrasts. So we have this song that starts off sounding like it's almost in the Spy movie. It's like boom, dun, 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 boom. It has all this like cool bass line. Yeah, right. It's got this rolling bass that goes through, and then it has this like swagger to it. But then all of a sudden it goes la 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 la. So it's so opposite from what you've already been expecting. And then when it ends, it goes la 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 la, and it goes back to that bass line. So now we're back into the Spy movie. And you'll see that a lot with music videos, that complete contrast, or even songwriting. It helps to pull the listener deeper into that, like I guess you would say that, the vortex of the song. So then it goes back in the second verse, and then it goes into that change, right? So normally a song goes from a second chorus into a rap section, and then goes back into a third chorus. In this section, there was an added vocalist, the added vocal section to take it away from this middle ground kind of talky, rappy thing to now, let me show the vocals. Or that's what aespa, let's show some vocals here. Let's take it somewhere, which is beautiful, right? And the visual on that with the fire in the background, the lava, like it's just like where are we going, you know? They take it to that part vocally, which is beautiful. And then they go, let's throw it to this real kind of bridge where there's the rapping section. And then they put that almost like New Jack Swing. Like when they go to that, it's like, okay, cool. So that's the rap. And then we go back to ooh wee, which is the pre-chorus, and then go back out to the chorus of the next level. And then the next level is just repeated twice at the end.
All right, so the confusing sections are basically just the re-intros or transition sections, and then multiple part bridge featuring a rap break. Oh, yeah, I thought way too deeply about everything. But you know, that is what is so enticing about this song, and maybe perhaps the killing point, right? Is that we have so many different emotions and stories going with each section.
I think that's so perfect of a word you said. You have several different emotions, which I think is the reason why it ties listeners to it so well. You're literally going through like a roller coaster the whole time. And right when you think you're on it, it goes to another one. And then it brings you back to another one. And then you're going like, where? But at the end of the day, you keep coming back to the on the next level. So when that brings you back, that's like the anchor throughout it all. It's the reason why that section gets so hooked in people's minds, because they know they've ingested all this really interesting emotions and sections, but they know they all can be glued to on the next level.
One of my video assistant editors actually sent in a question that he wanted to ask you. He said,
good.
It would be great if you could talk about creating with an audience in mind. He asked, it seems like he knows a lot about how to affect the listener through creative choices, and he's curious how that manifests your process. Like, do you always imagine the audience you create for, or do you pay more attention to how you are affected by your own music and hope other people will feel that way too?
That's a really good question. Okay, so it's a mixture of both. So the first part is how I react to something or how we react in the room. A lot of the things that we do, Mario Marchetti and myself, we're in the room when we're making something. If he reacts and I react, I'm like, okay, we're onto something here. We kind of use that filtration system. Just like, do you react to this? Yeah. Do you react to this? Okay, yeah. So once we kind of get that hook line, we go, okay, we know this is something here. Let's build on it. But then I do something in my mind, and this is for all the producers and songwriters out there. I have a thing called the stadium chant, meaning when I'm working on a song, if I close my eyes and I try to imagine, do I see 20,000 people in a stadium and what part do they all sing along to? I have to create that part, or like we as a team or the artist, whatever we're doing, we have to create a part that 20,000 people can understand and more importantly, want. And that's a key operative word there, want to sing along with. We can't force them. They have to want to sing along with at least one phrase or one thing. So I do that in the process when we're making music. I'm thinking, okay, what could be that line or what could be that part? A lot of times when I get demos sent to me, that part is missing from a song. That's a key pivotal part that's missing. Most artists aren't thinking of where is my stadium chant moment that everyone's going to sing along with. Mm-hmm. And most of the reason why they're forgetting about that, A, is because no one's told them. That's the first part. B, they haven't studied music to the bones yet. They've studied the outside of it, the color of music, how it looks, the smile, the eyes, but they're not at the bone cellular level yet. And the cellular level is you have to be able to connect everyone like glue, which comes from things that they all want to react to. So if that part is missing from a song, I know it's not going to place. It's not going to become big if that part is missing. It's the reason why if you look at Beyonce, she's one of the best vocalists that's been in the music industry, But if you were to tell someone in 50 years, like what's her biggest known song, it's going to be the song that she sings the least in. It's going to be Single Ladies, but that's not her most vocal song. And the reason is because Single Ladies is repeated over and again. It's like all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. She repeats certain words and phrases enough. It's not always about the best, biggest vocals. Sometimes it's just the parts that people can sing along with the most. And even though, like I said, she has amazing songs, Crazy in Love and 1+1 is 2 and like all these other songs and Partition and Drunken Love. But when people say what's her most known song in 50 years, it'll most likely be Single Ladies.
Do you think when an artist is just starting out, it is important to have a song that is more catchy and memorable or more showing off their natural talent? Because a lot of people were critiquing the fact that Next Level was catchy and spoken, but it didn't show off the group's colors.
It's interesting you said, because I think it does show off all the colors. It shows a part of catchiness, it shows a part of rapping, and it shows a part of vocals. So it does all three of those things. Now, if someone has a certain expectation of what vocals are, well, that's an expectation that they've created or someone else has set up for them based on previous releases or thoughts. But if you're saying like what songs are the biggest in the world, they're not the most vocal songs.
Right.
I mean, it's the reason why you can have a song like Taylor Swift has songs where she's just saying the same note, same root note. Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods? That's the same note the whole time. There's a lot of songs that literally they hit the supertonic. I don't know if anyone out here studied that, but it's called supertonic. I think it's the 2 note. There are songs that someone will just sing the supertonic over and over and over again. So it's not about vocally entertaining all the time, especially when you're talking about hit songs. When you think of hits, think of this. What songs can the most amount of people sing along to? That's what makes it a hit.
And so it just depends if a new artist is coming out with music, do they want to make a hit or do they want to aim at a smaller audience, but maybe develop a more emotional connection, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And when you have a lot of songs that you are recording, I'm sure aespa has a ton of songs that they're recording. You're picking ones that you feel are going to take people along a journey. And it's just to give people an arc that will become, especially for any new group. If you just do the same thing, then there's really no surprise.
Well, that actually ties perfectly into my very last question, because you started talking a little bit about how SM is approaching something new and viewing music in a new way with aespa. And to quote what you said in your aespa's Next Level Producer Reacts to Reaction Videos video, you said aespa is going through a side door no one has thought of. SM is thinking about music in a whole different way. So me and a lot of other people are curious, due to the shrinking attention spans and artists trying to find new way to shock their audiences, do you think the future of pop music is possibly going in this direction?
I don't know if pop in general will be able to pull off what they just did.
Okay.
Like even if it wanted to pull all those things together at the same time, the average artist can't do all those things. They're not going to have the camera person that can do all those crazy things. They're not going to have the avatars popping on the screen. They can't have the backdrops. They're not going to have the pyrotechnics. They're not going to have the choreography at that level. Like those things, to have them all, even if people wanted to do it, there's only be a small percentage of people who could do it. But I would say for the people who are looking future forward, which is different, like some artists can sit with a guitar and sing, and that's all you want to hear from them. But we're talking something different. We're talking about entertainment when we're talking about aespa. That's a different thing.
Okay.
So when you're looking into the entertainment side, then what they've created, when I said a side door, is they basically took different sections of what make people get stimulated. They raised them all to a level 10 and put them all together at the same time, which no one else I've seen do that before. And honestly, the coupling of the storyline is massive because we're moving into a world where there's more video content ever before in history, and humans by default are captivated and almost held by storytelling. It's the reason why people differ on so many things in world. Everyone's talking about the same stuff, but it depends on who tells the story and how they told it. But if you go to the very core of it, it's all the same. So storytelling captivates humans. And when you can create a storyline of what they're doing and actually have people stop what they're doing and get invested in your storyline, that's massive.
Do you see the way K-pop is dealing with healthy shock, we'll just call it, kind of moving over and inspiring the Western world as well? Or do you see it the other way around?
We're in a point of history where we've never had this much collages and coagulations of cultures, languages, music, because of the internet, because of worldwide travel, and because of social media. So because of these things, people are becoming mixtures of everything. And I think mixtures are good. And I think I would say, yes, everything's inspiring everything right now.
And it'll just forever repeat that way.
It's going to keep on happening. I guarantee in 10 years, us artists will be playing live shows inside video games. I think that we are going to realize that we can create our own quote unquote dimensions within this world, like sub dimensions. And I think a lot of social media does that. Music and the cross pollination of visuals and electronics and technology, I think this is just the beginning. It's just going to keep on getting more and more in depth.
Well, I think that's actually a wonderful point to end on. The future holds so many more exciting and amazing things, and I can't wait to see what you have said come true, because that will be super fun and super awesome and just connect us all even more. And I would love to end with, where can people find you? I know you aren't personally on social media, but you do run some channels.
Yeah, so what I've started recently is I've created a place where hit producers and hit songwriters and top executives can mentor upcoming producers and songwriters and artists. So for myself, I started meeting a lot of people who are quote unquote graduating, and no offense to anyone who graduated from music college, but I started finding a lot of people because they'd come work at my studio. They'd be interns, and I just talked to them like, oh, so what's going on in your career and what's happening? Every single person I met and talked to over the years has went to learn knowledge of music, but not really understanding the industry or understanding the business side of things. And so what happens is they spend like 10, 15 years trying to pay back their loans from college, but not knowing how to do it with music. So they have to get side jobs, they have to work waitresses and waiters and working here. And then they get stressed out and they get depressed and they think God doesn't want something for them. And I'm just like, wait, let's stop all this. Let's create a better music industry by getting the top executives from the top record labels, hit producers, hit songwriters, Grammy Award winners, and let's mentor, not teach. And the reason why I say not teach is because I can't teach you anything. I can just show you how it all works. Then it's up to you, if you're really going to do this career, to then use the examples of how it works and then take all the tricks and tips and all the formulas and do that. So we created this place called the Billboard 500 Club. And it's a private group. It's worldwide. It's like 4 days a week. You're being mentored by the top people in the music industry. So that's really where you can find me the most. If you plan on doing music for a career, this is the place to be, because it's packed with amazingly talented people from all around the world and all the executives you need and all the opportunities you need. Other than that, I am just starting a YouTube channel where I'm going to start posting different breakdowns and show people how these songs are being created. So I'll do reaction videos, but it'll be a little bit more in depth on how the music's being made. So I'll say, this is what they're doing here. This is that kind of baseline. Here's where you can find, I'll be able to show everyone more sense the inside of how the music is being created from these popular videos. So I'll be covering anything that's on the hit charts, from K-pop to American Billboard charts to Latin, but I'll be showing people how this is being made.
I'm very much looking forward to that content. It's needed because a lot of people just, skim the surface of what is released, and there's this whole nother world of hard work and brilliance and talent that goes into creating what people enjoy, and they can just learn to love it in such a deeper level. Well, thank you so much for your hard work in the music industry and for sharing your knowledge as always and enlightening us with a unique perspective. So thank you so much for today.
I appreciate your time.